Hi, this is Marya Doery, and I'm here with JB Rainsberger again. In our previous session, we looked at how Bolt would refactor code and how it would deal with code that had been refactored by us, and just look to see if that worked okay. And it seemed to work fine. It seems like it takes our changes and goes ahead and works with whatever is there.
Mhm.
So
I guess
that
we didn't actually check what would happen when we change code and then ask it to continue on. So
that's
I
true.
guess let's I think we decided that we're going to stick with Bolt's version for now because it's actually not bad,
Yeah.
and then we will see what happens.
Yeah. So we have a slightly changed version of the code. The
Yep.
accuracy has been fixed to the way that JB likes it. And now there's a new feature that JB would like to add. So how about if you tell us about that?
Sure. So right now we have a problem that I do not know how safely to deploy a new version of the app to my phone because presumably it will blow away um, my history. Now, I suppose the safest option would be to just say, well, I've exported I can re export, keep a copy of that somewhere locally, and then merge two spreadsheets together, two CSV files or two JSON files or whatever. Yeah, I can do that. But this might be a good opportunity to try something a little bit more, a little bit less straightforward and see how it goes. And that would be um, rather than me trying to figure out how to use the Android debugger to patch the database file that I presume is in there somewhere. Um, and rather than looking through the database code or whatever it is, the storage code, let's just see if Bolt can do import. So if it can do export, maybe it can do import.
I
And I'm
suppose
really
one.
curious to see what will happen because I'm thinking of the ways that I would actually do this by hand and test it. And I have no idea how to do any of that in this environment.
Okay. I was thinking one thing we could do is do destructive testing. Basically, like you can uninstall the app and then reinstall it and see if all your data is gone. And I have a feeling it's all going to be gone. I don't know if you
Let's
feel
stipulate that that's
comfortable
going to
with it.
happen, and therefore I am not interested.
Okay.
So but like I'm thinking about how I would do this by hand, and of course I would create a bunch of practice sessions, do an export. That way, I get a bunch of text data or test data.
Yeah.
Create a test data directory, have a bunch of little things that I could do there. Um, create, I need some unit tests, so I'm going to want some really simple import. Let's import a fragment. Let's import a whole document. Let's make sure the document's empty. Let's make sure the document is literally empty, like 0 characters, so it shouldn't import at all, and see what would happen. So I'm thinking
Mhm.
about how I would do it, knowing that this is effectively a parsing behavior, and so then you have to worry about parsing errors, how to handle errors, what should the app do. Um, I'm curious to see how much of that Bolt will already think about, and how much I'm going to have to nudge Bolt to think about those things. Is Bolt going to behave like an over-eager senior programmer or an over-eager junior programmer, which it's kind of been doing?
Yeah. Okay. So do you want to, how about if you just go ahead and ask it, I also
Yep.
want this import
Yeah.
feature.
Let me act a little bit like an annoying customer and see what we
Yeah,
get.
exactly. Like, oh, by
Okay.
the way, I want you to change
Yes.
the entire app now.
Yeah. Exactly. All right. So uh, I have a problem now because I don't feel safe installing a new version of the app of this app on my phone because then all the practice sessions I'm going to try this in my history will disappear, might disappear. uh, do you think I should be worried about that? I
Excellent.
want to see if it will claim that that will already work, or if it will look at the code and say, "Yeah, you know what? I'm not doing anything to try to fix that."
I like how it said,
So
yeah, usually, but not guaranteed.
So yes, let's
Or
see.
scroll
Let's see
up
this
there
is
and
good.
see what it
So
says.
of course, I'm absolutely right. Once again, I have been absolutely right at least 4 or 5 times in a row now.
Yeah, so App
Updating
Store
it.
updates usually preserve data, but not guaranteed.
Right.
Platform differences.
So if I uninstall and reinstall, data will be lost. If I do an update, then I presume the but not guaranteed part is like subtly throwing shade at less responsible programmers. Um, there are platform differences. I don't have to worry about that. Your practice sessions are stored locally in your device in async storage with the key bowling sessions. So I assume async storage is like some Redis style key value pair store or something
So
that's
async, yeah, it is. So async
okay.
storage is like a React Native thing,
Okay.
that under the hood, it's going to do something different for Android versus iOS. So that's
Oh, so it's meant to be an abstraction layer so that, say,
yeah.
on Android, it might actually be an SQLite database or something underneath, and we're not
But
supposed
you
to
notice
care.
it's saying it only exists on your device and isn't backed up anywhere. So it's just
Right.
when you delete that app, it just should be blown away along with the rest of it.
Right. And that's where I don't know whether if I just try to install the app rather than uninstalling the app first and then uninstalling the old version and installing the new version.
Nice.
I don't know what happens if I then try to do that. If I just try installing the app, I don't know what Android will do because this is a thing I do. So it recommends exporting the data first, testing the update carefully, blah, 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 all this stuff that we could add features like automatic local file backups, cloud storage integration, and import functionality. All right.
Yeah.
So once again, trying to read my mind as a reasonable programmer would, or at least as an eager programmer would. So here are the three options. Notice that it asked first about the import feature, then about automatic backup.
Yeah.
Or would you rather just do this yourself?
Right.
So yes, I have already exported my one practice session, so I'm good there. And I guess the only thing is that we've now changed the way accuracy is calculated, so I don't know even if my export is up to date. But
So something I'm
go
a
ahead.
little confused
Yeah,
by what it suggested there because it's saying, oh, you could also just export your current data and then proceed with the update, which is fine, except for that then you might lose your data in the app. And
exactly, exactly.
so
So it's at least letting me know. And you know what? I kind of like this because it's a reminder that we don't actually need this import feature. Like this is the kind of discussion that I would have with a customer who is, of course, right to be terrified about losing any data.
yeah,
But we, I feel like it's part of my responsibility to comfort them and say, hey, look, I get it. If I were you, this is what I would do to make absolutely sure that I have an emergency copy of the data. And yeah, it might suck that we have to merge two spreadsheets together,
yeah,
but at least we can do it. That's just tedious. That's not dangerous.
right.
It's sort of, I would consider that a Toyota solution. Like it's safe, functional, not pretty. And so I would want to make sure to say that so that the customer has the opportunity to say to me, oh, good. You mean I don't have to pay you for import yet? I don't mind doing that. It's fine.
Just so there it's clear that if they do load a new version of the app in, they might not see anything in the history tab like that.
Right. Then they
That's
don't have to
to
panic.
be duped, right? So
Right.
yeah,
They might be annoyed, but at least they're
yeah,
not going to panic.
yeah.
And that's if I can downgrade them from panic to annoyed, that's great. So it's kind of nice that I find it nice that Bolt is attempting to do the same thing with me.
Yeah, so I guess the question is, how do you feel about that? What do
Right.
you?
So as purely from a customer standpoint, it's only one line in a spreadsheet. I don't care that much about making sure right now that I have it in the app. Although eventually I will. Eventually I would like I'm thinking about I'm thinking about how I actually want to use this. And I think long term what really matters to me is to be able to pull practice session information into a spreadsheet so that I can do whatever I want with it.
Right.
So thinking purely as a customer, I don't need import. So my only reason to implement import would be convenience for the future. And my only interest in asking Bolt to implement import is in seeing what Bolt would do. So at this point, I'm making a decision now that's more about this video series and about
Yeah.
learning about LLMs than I
Yeah.
am Otherwise, I would just go and we would, we would look into fixing the bug that we know is there with the history
Okay.
view. So um, let's just see what Bolt would do. Here's another opportunity to branch and
Yeah.
be prepared to throw all this crap away,
Okay.
which is wonderful. That's what Git is there for. So what would I like it to do? Um, Please add an import feature so that I can restore my exported data. And I'm just going to see what it does.
Okay.
I'm not going to tell it anything more. Now, in my head, as the, putting on my senior programmer hat, I'm thinking about like the Alexis King article, parse not validate, and the fact that parsing means there might be some errors, that we need to have a strategy for how we're going to deal with errors because we haven't done that so far, right? We've been able to continue to live in the universe where the UI doesn't let you do anything stupid.
Yeah.
Um, so there's nothing that you can do through the UI that isn't permitted, even if it's destructive. Like I noticed that it allows me to delete practice sessions, which I never asked for. And I gasped when I saw it, but then I realized, yeah, you know what? I was probably going to build that anyway, so that's fine. So I'm curious to see how it's going to handle this. And what I can do is to pull that article out of my back pocket and say, hey, I happen to program with this idea of parse don't validate. Parsing that is a reminder that parsing might fail, and we need to deal with that failure, and we need to deal with that failure in a structured and sensible way. Please do that. I'm curious just to see, I wanted to really take advantage of this opportunity to see what kind of nonsense it might do. And it's still thinking. So let's see what happens. And it's warning me that we're getting low on daily tokens.
Oops. Okay. Well, that.
I mean, I don't know that that's actually low yet, but let's see what happens. It's still working. And I don't know if that's stuck or if it's actually.
Yeah, I don't know. That's funny.
Oh,
It's stuff.
it's still updating. It thinks it
Okay.
needs to update the export file 6 times, and it's updating it for the 3rd time. So I don't know if it's confused.
It says I've
Let's
added
just see
a
what it's.
comprehensive import feature to the
Oh, now
export
it says they're all done.
screen.
Oh, and apparently all I needed to do was to update the UI by scrolling up and scrolling back down. Okay, so let's see what it actually did. So, thank you. I want a comprehensive import feature. I would expect nothing less. And of course, it did the junior programmer thing where it added the import feature to the export screen
Export screen.
because it doesn't know how to create a new screen.
Well,
All right, so
and on top of it, it only used JSON files, whereas the exports are CSVs, right? Isn't that
right,
true?
so it did the thing that I would do, which is let me start by only being able to import the like most generic export format,
Okay.
and then we'll figure out the rest later. Because at least I don't know whether Bolt is doing this out of laziness or whether it's doing this with the affirmative belief that, well, if this is being used for the purpose of restoring a backup, then the only thing we can restore is a backup. And in fact, now that I say the words restore and backup out loud, that's really how we should have framed this. Is I would prefer to have framed this as backup and restore rather than export and import. Because you just pointed out, Mario, the difference, right? That I'm not looking to like draft practice sessions in a spreadsheet and import
Right.
them. I just want backup and restore. So
Yeah.
if I think what that provides us is we now have an emergency escape hatch. If we don't like what it did, we can then say, hey, throw that all away. And instead of import, let's think about this as backup and restore. And maybe
Okay.
let's put that as a separate UI rather than doing the junior programmer thing of just jamming it into the same screen because I'm not confident
Yeah.
enough to create another screen. So it uses Expo document picker to let you select JSON files for your device, only accepts JSON to prevent importing invalid data. Interesting, a little optimistic, maybe a little junior programmer-ish. I don't know
I
what.
think that's so that's just like mind-bogglingly dumb to me. It literally it's
Oh, you don't find that cute? You don't find that charming?
aren't I think our current export is only CSV. So why the heck did it decide to import
Oh,
a
no,
J?
no, no, no. One of the export features, it does export the whole thing as a JSON document.
Oh, the whole JSON document. Okay,
Yeah, yeah,
then
yeah.
good.
The third
I
option of
forgot that.
export is, yeah, okay. If you did,
Okay, I
so just
forgot
to make
that.
sure
No,
everyone
no,
knows.
then I'm fine. I'm fine.
Right.
It's
Well,
perfect.
no, I mean it's
Fine.
still kind of stupid. Like
Forgive me,
it's
both.
naive. It's naive in that, yes, JSON is not what means we're never going to import invalid data. If we
Yeah.
only ever
Oh,
import exported JSON, we should be okay
yeah.
99.99% of the time, except for versioning. So it seems to do some data validation. Ooh, there's the opening for using parse don't validate.
Okay.
Um, it shows helpful error messages if the file format is wrong. I'll be the judge of that.
Okay.
Um, it does the do you want to do so this is interesting.
Oh,
Since
cool.
we framed it as import, it doesn't know whether to treat this like backup and restore. So then it has to worry about replace all, merge, or cancel. So this is behavior that reflects our mistake as customers, my mistake as a customer, that because I was too technical and described this as import, I created complication that didn't need to be there.
Hmm.
Because if this truly is backup and restore, then it would just be replace all the time. There's only two options, which is replace all or abandon ship, which is kind of how I want it to work. So cool. Even if I like this code, I think I want to back up and try again. And then
Okay.
as far as the user experience goes, oh, sorry, you're going to say.
No, no, I'm good. I'm
You're
good.
good? Okay.
Actually, are you sure that you wouldn't want merge functionality?
So if I were thinking of, so maybe in the future, but that's not my intent here.
Hmm.
My intent here is really back up and restore so that I can continue to upgrade the app and
Right.
not be worried.
So at this point, you would use this functionality, assuming it works, you'd be like, okay, export the data as JSON, and
Yeah.
then later on, when you do a new install, fresh install, import it, and then start from there.
Yes, that's what I would expect to do for now.
Okay.
And the whole thing about replace all or merge is just a needless complication at this point. Because what I'm not doing, for example, is if I think about sort of long term how I would use this, the phone would be an inbox of practice sessions.
Okay.
And then eventually I would dump those practice sessions to a longer term database, the kind of database that I would keep over the span of a couple of years or a few years,
Right.
where I could really then go back and look at sort of my progression over time, do some maybe pattern analysis to try to figure out if there's some particular weakness in my game that I need to address.
Hmm.
And so I would tend to treat the phone as an inbox. Here's like the last 3 months of my practice sessions, and then dump them into a spreadsheet. And the spreadsheet is where I would do the long term analysis.
And then would
In
you want,
principle,
yeah, go ahead.
sorry.
So I was just going to ask, would you then delete, you'd clear the data off your
Well,
phone and
that's kind of where I'm going. That I could imagine that what will the principal workflow over time will be use the phone as an inbox, use some spreadsheet on LibreOffice on my laptop as long-term analysis, and as
Mhm.
you say, empty the inbox every so often.
Right.
And really emptying the inbox, I would just do it when I felt like too worried that I was going to lose data, or I might decide to do it when I want to upgrade the app, or I might decide that I have to do it because I'm going to make a breaking change to the app or something like that. But let's assume even for the moment that the app is stable. Every so often, I'm just going to get nervous that there's too much data that's only in my phone.
Yeah.
Like as long as the only copy of that practice data in the universe is on my phone, I'm going to be a little nervous about that. And I'll
Hmm.
just wait until the pain in my chest gets enough that I need to back it up for the sake of backing up.
Would you,
Um,
would it help to have some automated scheduling,
right. So right,
say,
and that was one of the options that Bolt provided. Right? Do you want me to do automated
oh,
backups? And I think I would like to do that. And that's pushing me even more in the direction of framing this as backup and restore
mhm.
rather than import where I might be like, I have a practice session that I did without my phone, but I kept track of everything by hand, and now I want to unify it with my other data. Like, I suppose that's possible. I might want to do that, but I don't know if I want to do that now.
Okay.
Like, that's an interesting feature that might be worth doing, but I don't know if I want to do it now. I think that, and again, if I were working with programmers that I trusted really strongly, I would just say, what the hell, let's do it now. Unless I literally couldn't afford to do it. But again, because I'm working with this system and I'm not sure how much to trust it, the customer in me wants to back up, take this feature out, reframe it as backup and restore, and
Okay.
I'll probably feel better about what I'm going to get.
Okay.
But the I'm learning how LLMs work part of me wants to see what's going to happen and is prepared to throw all this away if it starts to smell bad.
Okay.
But we'll see.
Do you want to go ahead and try it? I assume won't work, in the sort of web version of the app. The preview.
Right, because we've experienced this before, because the preview in
files.
Stacklets doesn't seem to show dialog
Alerts.
boxes.
Yeah, yeah.
And where is it going to,
The
how is it even
file
going to
system
work?
is just not there, right?
So I think the only way that we can actually test this on the phone is for me to export what's there and then use this import feature to bring it back.
Yeah.
Put some more test practice sessions in and export again.
Right.
But let's take a look. That was a sidetrack when we looked at the import options. So now under user experience, it says clear visual feedback, success confirmation, purple styling to distinguish import from export functions. How nice. Positioned at the top of the export options for easy access. Okay. I guess, let's see. I don't actually see any of that here. So that's very interesting. All right. So it didn't update. Unless what it's about to tell me is what's it about to tell us is going to help. And then safety features always asks for confirmation, shows how many sessions will be imported. So it tries to warn us about what's going to happen when we use import. And then this makes me nervous. Handles duplicate sessions intelligently in merge mode.
Yeah.
I have worked with enough version control and versioning systems, including some pretty badly built ones that I've participated in, that makes me take that word intelligent with more than just a pinch of salt. Okay. This is a notoriously difficult problem. So I am not confident, but I'm willing to see. So it says, go to the export screen and tap import data at the top, and there is not there. So I wonder if I'm going to have to actually
try reloading the page. Maybe
I might have to just reload the page in order to make that work. So, okay, let's see what happens. Can I at least make the web preview show me this thing?
Yeah,
because if I can't, that's already interesting.
Yeah.
And this is similar to the bug that we've seen where if I finish a practice session, it doesn't show up in the history right away, and I have to quit the app and reload it in order for the history view to be up to date. The data's in there.
Yeah.
But the history view doesn't show it. There must be something about the transition from one screen to another that's not working. And I don't know how long it's going to take to build the mobile application. So in the meantime, let's just see if there's anything else here that we need to know about. I don't think so. So that disappoints me a little bit that, the preview didn't show up right away.
Yeah,
because while it's previewing,
other code pages showed up very quickly. So
right. So we can take a look at the export tab here and look for evidence that there's actually import, to the extent that I can read any of this stuff. All right. I was hoping to see it a little bit earlier than that. Maybe it's at the bottom. Maybe that's more. I'm looking for some HTML and not finding it. Oh, here we are. Do I see something that looks like
Export data. Practice.
Export options. Okay. Is there something near the top?
You can, I don't
I
know
don't
if
see anything at
you
the
can
top here
fold
that
things
says
up.
anything about import.
Yeah, it's kind of strange. It doesn't look like anything changed. Well, of course, there's import. Yeah, that you're gonna get those imports, unfortunately. Huh. Huh.
Well, so there's evidence that it tried to do something
Something.
about the waiting for the import to finish, right? This sort of like on load state
So
of
where
the
is that
page.
used? Where's import status used in there? Can you find?
Yeah. Nowhere.
And set import status is also not used. It's like it broke. It broke. We broke
Yeah.
it.
Yeah. Excellent. And I think I'm going to guess that what happened, let's just double check. Yeah, because export status, we can see it's all here. My guess is that the underlying behavior for import is there and the UI doesn't use it.
I mean,
That's probably the best case scenario, and the worst case scenario is it just arbitrarily did some stuff and didn't finish it.
can you compare this export TSX file with your
Yeah,
existing
I'm
version?
looking before even doing that because I'm right along with you. I'm
Yeah.
just looking to see if there's any evidence. So remember that it got stuck
Yeah, it
in
got
the third one of
stuck.
these. I wonder if that was it. So okay, let's do this quickly then. And off stage here, I'm just gonna do a couple of moves before we do anything else.
Mhm.
I'm unzipping. Let's do that. So I'm going to go over to the current app. I'm going to delete everything except the Git repository. I'm going to go back and I'm going to do our rsync again. And let's see what we get. All right. Now, let me share this window and let's take a look at what changed. Let's uncover this together, shall we?
Sure.
So stats changed. Looks like it made a pure white space change. Oh, it maybe this was us. Maybe we accidentally trimmed the new line. So let's get rid of that change because that was nothing.
Okay.
Now let's take a look here. So we have upload and folder open. So there's evidence that it at least tried to do a thing related to importing or related
Right.
to, now I have to be careful, importing a practice session by at least trying to use code that does import from a file.
Right.
And we have a document picker here. So it's using Expo's document picker.
Okay.
We have a state of importing, whether importing is happening or not. And we have styling for the
Styles for
import
the import
buttons.
button, and that's
And
it.
that's as far as it got.
Ooh, okay.
So I am going to guess that what happened was it tried and it failed. So let's just ask it to try again.
Okay.
It looks like you got stuck and didn't finish the changes you told me you were making. Please throw away these changes and try again. Again, I'm being somewhat. Oh, you're right. I got stuck in the middle of those changes. I
Interesting.
love how it said start fresh. That makes me a little nervous.
Huh.
I can see just by looking at the code here that the import line on line 4 and line 16 showing the import status and set import status is the same as what I've had before.
Right.
So this could have just been a timeout thing, or it's just a sort of a shit happens thing. Okay. It's interesting to see it generating the code as it go. It's still
Yeah.
generating.
Funny, isn't it?
I'm
Like top
curious
down.
to see. So it has functions that threaten to do this. We have validate the imported data structure, validate and clean the sessions data. Interesting. So it's trying to compute the valid sessions. It's doing pretty much what you would expect. It's going to throw an error if there are no valid sessions.
Okay.
And then it will have a nice little dialogue to summarize what happened. That's a pretty long file. All right. Now it's going to repeat what it said before, but slightly differently. Do we see evidence of purple buttons? Let's see. And we're out of tokens for today. So this is as far as we're going to get.
There you go.
Aha! There's
Nice.
some purple. All
Like
right.
it.
So we have import. We have export. So now
Now I
I
assume
can test this.
if you hit that import, you're not gonna see the alert dialog because we've
Oh,
experienced.
no. On the contrary, it actually opened up the open file dialog on my laptop.
Oh,
All
okay.
right. So in principle, I could test this. I suppose people aren't going to be able to see it, but let me
Yeah, no,
try a round
we
trip.
can't. I can't see that. So
So
yeah.
let me just try a round trip real quick and see if it works.
Okay.
I pressed export JSON and I get a problem. And the problem, oh, that's interesting. Huh.
Write a string
It is not letting me export
on web. Yeah.
because it's not going to let me touch the file system.
Yeah.
But import, I wonder then if I actually choose a file, I wonder if it'll have the corresponding error on the other end. When it actually tries to read from the file system, it won't be allowed to do it.
Okay.
Okay. So that means I will have to test this by
Why don't you
opening it
try?
on the phone and
Can
see
you
what
try
happens.
importing it just some other junk file and see if it crashes or something?
Oh, yeah. There's no reason not to do that. Let me just
Just
find a
to
text
test it.
file. All right. So let's just find. I won't overdo it. Let's just give it some text and see what happens.
Okay.
Finding a text file is surprisingly difficult. Let's see. Oh, because it's looking specifically for JSON files. Let me see here.
Oh, with a
I'll,
JSON suffix.
yeah, but I'm going to see what happens. So I just chose a text file, and
And
I'm going to
nothing.
guess that there is a dialogue here, but we can't see it because
Right.
that's a limitation of the Stack Blitz preview.
Okay.
And is this the same error as before?
That's your original error. Right?
Yeah, that's the same error as before. So if I ignore that, let me just try this one more time. I just want to see if I can get this to happen. I was wondering if I could get Bolt to say, "Ooh, there was another error," and
Right.
for it to be the same kind of error, but that didn't happen. So it looks like I can really only test this on the phone.
Yes.
So let's take a quick look here. Import button uses the upload icon to distinguish it from the export features, which is true. We have the upload icon, we have document, database, and download. Interesting icon use. It shows the status while importing. I'll take your word for it for now. Accepts only JSON files. Yes. That's not true, actually. Oh, maybe that's it. Maybe there's code in there that says if it's not JSON, I'm not going to try. I'll do some testing. Validates the JSON structure, checks that the sessions have the required fields, and then filters out invalid data and shows helpful error messages. Again, I can test that. Replace all, merge, cancel. This is the same as before. Safety features are the same as before. User experience is the same as before. Okay, so yes. It did get stuck, as we saw, and it did work. Notice how it says to use export your current data as JSON for backup.
Yeah.
So it's already realizing what we are realizing, that it's probably better to frame this as a backup and restore feature than as an export and import feature.
Yeah.
Because that would simplify the error handling part, and we don't have to worry about merging. So okay, there's enough there that I can try this myself and see what happens. So I think
Can we
that
just,
is.
before we
Go ahead.
finish for today, can you
Sure.
scroll up just a little bit? I wanted to verify with you. I noticed the practice time seems to be saying, is that
19,967 hours. I presume that's because
hours or
we let
minutes?
it. Minutes. No.
Min
Minutes. Sorry. Yes, 19,973 minutes and 53 seconds.
Does that sound wrong?
Well, so I'm going to guess that I did this
I didn't
and
end
notice
it.
the timer is ticking, and
Yeah.
then let it sit for
Okay.
a long time.
Okay.
So I'm not concerned about that.
Okay.
Now that's interesting. The history bug that we talked about wasn't a problem this time.
Mm-hmm.
That's an 8-second empty practice session, which
Okay.
I'm going to delete, but it won't show.
Oh, it
I
didn't.
delete and it
Yeah.
doesn't show as being deleted because the dialogue box wasn't.
Oh, okay. Okay.
But delete does seem to work on my phone. This is
Okay.
one thing that right now, if I have to really criticize the experience as a programmer, or I should even say more generally as the person using this, is that the preview, unfortunately, doesn't work as well with React Native as I wish it did. But, as things go, that's not the end of the world. That will eventually become enough of a problem for me to not be able to use Bolt like this anymore. And then it's going to make me wonder, okay, how do I use the Bolt Gen AI in my code base without Stack Blitz?
Okay. Hmm. Hmm.
But that's a problem for another day. What I can say is that that was this experience is not satisfying from the point of view that I can't check it right now without risking installing it on my phone.
Right.
But
Do you have a like a development device that you could use, or do you have only the one, your own
I
personal?
could. I'm not sure it's worth the trouble to set it up, especially at least at this stage. Because we have a safe way of because we have a safe enough workflow, it's probably not worth it.
Right. Yeah.
But eventually, if I do want to be able to, like, imagine I trust this app enough in the future that I do want to keep all my practice history also on the phone because I have like cloud backup and restore and all that stuff,
Right.
then that would change. That dynamic would change, and I would care about making sure that I don't risk messing up the data on the phone. Although if I have cloud backup and restore, I wouldn't worry as much.
Yeah.
So this isn't satisfying in the sense that I can't verify, I can't explore the behavior right now and see if it works. I have to wait until I install on the phone to do that.
Yep.
But somewhat satisfying in that, once again, working with Bolt led me to figure out that I got more than I actually wanted. And my initial reaction to that was to resist it. And my reaction now is, maybe I don't need to resist it. Maybe it'll be okay. This is clearly the biggest chunk of work that we've asked it to do where I'm nervous about the outcome and feel not in a very good position to check it. I also saw the code that it generated, and those functions are getting long. So at the very least, I kind of now want to sit down and do some compose method, some extract function refactoring just to get them, to make the code a little bit easier to skim. And this is kind of the big thing that whenever we talked about this stuff in training classes, I would always say, well, if we trusted the computer to do all the code generation, then the computer would never design anything because it wouldn't need to. It wouldn't worry about organizing code.
Right.
Because it would just delete all the code and generate it in from scratch, and you wouldn't be able to tell the difference. And as far as we can tell, that's what it did, at least for that one export file, right? So I'm interested to do a diff and see how surgical it was and the changes that it made. But that's really for me more of a curiosity, and for me to
Well,
understand sort of at what level I ought to trust this particular Gen AI to do this kind of thing.
so definitely, I think it's worth looking at that. Next time we meet, we should take a look at the diff because I think that would be interesting.
Yeah, and I mean, I was about to say, and you anticipated that. As a learner, I'm interested in what it would do for the sake of learning it, for the sake of
Yeah,
knowing.
yeah.
But thinking purely as a customer, I mean, part of the point is not to care, and I still do not feel comfortable with that idea. Um, and as this app gets bigger,
Yeah.
we run more the risk of running into the typical problems that we run into in projects where if we don't cultivate the design, then our capacity to add features will decline over time. And I think the biggest difference between working in this environment and working with human programmers is that at least with human programmers, hitting the brick wall, I get more notice when we're about to hit the brick wall. I can
Hmm.
see the brick wall coming from farther away because human programmers slow down more rapidly
Huh.
than Bolt or any of these Gen AIs will, right? They'll act like nothing is wrong until very suddenly everything stops. And again, with humans, I would expect them to start whining and complaining and having an uncomfortable look on their face.
Mhm.
I suspect the only way I'm going to know that Bolt is getting out of its depth is it's going to do. And my apologies to people who are general contractors or tradespeople for a living who like work on houses. This is hard work. But unfortunately, I've had the experience of like the tradesperson who gets in over their head, is not willing to admit it, and just stops returning your phone calls.
Yeah.
And I get the sense that that's what's going to happen here. If we reach the point where Bolt is out of its depth, it will spin its wheels and it will be up to us to notice that it's stuck, which is kind of the equivalent of, I mean, at least the plumber who gets in over their head has the common courtesy to ghost you and make it clear that they're not coming back, which is worse than showing up at your house every day and failing to fix the problem.
So just to be fair, I'm going to say that I'm 100% confident that software developer contractors have also done the same thing to their clients.
Oh, certainly. Yes.
So we
Yeah,
don't
yeah,
have
yeah, yeah. Yeah, we
contract.
don't. Yes.
But the other
It's just that
thing,
my experience has been mostly with electricians.
do you think that the blurb, whatever happened today, where it just kind of like claimed that it did a bunch of stuff and then didn't, do you think that was a sign that something was maybe, it was hitting up against its limits or something?
Yeah, I can't really account for that. At least the good news is we saw it look like it got stuck, and then I
Yeah,
guess it timed out, and we didn't know that that's what happened. I kind of would have liked Stack Blitz or Bolt to have been clearer about that and say, hey,
yeah,
I think that request timed out. You should probably try again.
right.
Um, so we couldn't tell until we looked for a feature that Bolt claimed was there and it wasn't.
It wasn't, right.
Um, but the good news is at least we have version control, so we could blow the changes away if we needed to. We didn't have to. We at least Bolt was able to seemed to right the ship.
Yeah,
It'll be easier to tell that when we actually diff. And somebody who can read React Native code, who can skim it, would find it easier to tell. My untrained eyes were fooled, but it could also be that my untrained eyes actually saw that it did the right thing.
yeah,
I just can't. Right now, I'm easy to fool. So that's that as mistakes go, at least the correlation between it appearing to get stuck and not doing all the work the first time,
yeah,
that's pretty clear to me. That's pretty obvious. So I'm not confused. I'm merely surprised. But then I remember, the internet is not a perfect place, and sometimes you just have to hit refresh and try again,
yeah,
which is literally what we need to do. So, I mean, it doesn't diminish my trust any more than, an HTTP request was not completely delivered to me and I had to press refresh and try again. It
yeah.
felt like that kind of experience. And, shit happens. It's fine.
Okay. All right. So next time we meet, we'll continue from approximately here, right?
Yeah, let's. So I guess we think maybe the import feature works. We'd kind of like to review it. This is the first time we really want to kind of review effectively a pull request, um, and uh, see if that actually works as well as we think it does. And then from there, we can decide whether we want to go on to this history view bug, which wasn't reproduced today, but probably will be when I install my phone.
Yeah.
In the meantime, I can try installing this on my phone and doing a little bit of the use it in flight mode and make sure that the lack of an internet connection is not a problem.
Yeah. Okay.